Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Unbuttoned India, the podcast.
I'm Pixie, and I'm joined by my friends Mojo
Woohoo!
and Cherry.
Woo!
And together, we're going to share our stories and other people's stories around sex, sexuality, and intimacy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling out a topic for today's episode from our lovely little pouch.
And it is?
Today's topic is sex in public spaces.
Ooh, I like that topic.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Like it, and I've done it, or just to like it?
I like it because I've done it.
Oh my god.
And, well, no. When we get into our stories, we'll find that. But then again, right, we've talked about what is sex. So what is sex in public spaces or sexual activity in public spaces? I'm going to go ahead and say they're the same thing. In which case, yes. But also, I like it because it gets me excited. It's a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, and I think what makes it so exciting is because sex is seen as this private activity, and suddenly you're like out in the open, and it's seen as something that people don't talk about, and like how we're talking so much about sex on a podcast and making it sort of like our private stories public. So I think when the act itself, when taken outdoors, just creates this sort of like excitement.
Yeah, it's forbidden.
Yeah.
Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
I wonder if it wasn't forbidden, if we would be as excited.
Yeah, just walking down the street and two people are fucking.
Yeah. I mean, if that was normal,
Yeah.
quote unquote,
Yeah.
would it be as sexy as a separate topic?
Yeah.
But for now, it's not. And so, therefore,
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Yeah.
Great. So, who's going to start? Who's got a good story to start with?
I like that, Pixie. That's very cheeky of you.
Yeah.
So that means Pixie doesn't want to start. I like it.
Either one of you.
So here we go. So one time I was with someone and we sort of made a pact that we would try to hit as many public spaces as possible around us.
Wow.
Just sort of like a checklist that, we should have at least made out here, X place, we should have made out in that Y place, we should have done XYZ in the Z place. And because it was exciting, we're just spicing it up, and we thought that would make it exciting, and we were putting our mark in that place. You know how people write down A loves B and a heart and stuff on trees and stuff? So vandalism, not our thing, but we were happy to, make our mark in other ways and just sort of mark that place and create a memory, so to speak. So it was this exciting bucket list kind of activity that we set ourselves on. We got through quite a few different places, I have to say.
How many?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I find that non-essential, Pixie. So I'm thinking that the experience is what I'm sort of thinking of how it was hot. Like, it was sexy.
Hot, isn't it?
It was hot.
Hot. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because...
Hot and hard.
Hard.
Sure. So one time we were at one place. Turns out it was not as secluded as we thought it was. And so while we were engaging in a certain one of the activities, not to be coy about it, but pointed that's not essential, is that a car passed us and it was a group of people that we knew, and they started cooing, and we were like, oh, guys!
What are the odds?
And so that was kind of, we were, you know what happened?
Yeah, what
we
were
were
you
like we were, in this case, sure, we were like making out and whatever. You're really getting on.
Okay.
And so our reaction though was really funny because first we were like, oh no, deer and caught in the headlights. Should we be embarrassed about this? Oh my goodness, they saw us. And then we sort of leaned into it. We started going, woo! And we started cheering with them and being like, that's right, we're getting some, bitches! And so that was fun. So we sort of just leaned into it when they saw us. So yeah, public spaces, something so very sexy about them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, a lot of times, even at home, right? Sometimes when I have no one at home, I kind of like walking around new. But also because we have these big glass windows, like people can see, it's sort of like semi-private, but also public because anybody who wants to peep in can. So my stories are mostly in my balcony because my balcony is situated in such a nice place that it's public, because there's sunshine and you can feel the cold night air and all of that. But also it's fully like there are grills, and then it's kind of secluded, and it's also facing my neighbor's backyard. So
and it's like well wooded, and there are trees.
Exactly, there are lots of trees and all of that.
Lovely shade
Yeah.
and things like that.
So every time I have someone over and I want to kind of like take it out there, I love seeing the reaction on people when I suggest it, because for a lot of people it's a new thing and they get really excited. They're like, "Are you sure no one's going to see?" and all of that. I love putting them in that spot and just seeing them in a new kind of what is their response to this new experience. Yeah, mostly have been in this little balcony, and it offers a sort of like a private space, but it's not really because it's out in the open and doing a bunch of things. I think it's really nice, just like our naked bodies out in under sunlight, and then sometimes it's really cold out there, and the warm bodies coming together. I love the feeling.
So time of day, like just during the day or at night too, like do you have a preference for when you actually do this?
I think preference would be night.
Mm-hmm.
I love this night activity that we're doing out in the cold, and sometimes I do enjoy having a little cigarette and going for it, because it's also, I mean, if you need to smoke, you need to get out, and then this activity just becomes a part of it. So it's kind of exciting. I like it.
Yeah, I remember this one story you shared with us a while back about doing it in a pool or doing something in a swimming pool.
Oh my god, yes!
I remember that story was so hot, so I really want you to share it.
Yeah, oh my god, I'd forgotten that. Yeah, so we went into this pool in Bali, and this was in a resort, and some buildings, I mean, this pool was surrounded by buildings, right? So this was like a private pool for folks who were living in those buildings, in those rooms.
But before you continue, Mojo, can we just acknowledge how typical that is that this happened in Bali?
Yeah.
Because it sort of captures, there's so much in the Indian psyche that is like, let's go to Bali.
Yeah.
And like, that's where shit goes down. And that is what we're getting. So let's
Yeah,
go. Let's get
yeah.
into this building.
But, this was kind of totally unexpected as well. I mean, I did not. So we were in the room doing some naughty private things, and the person suggested, "Why don't we go to the pool?" And then we were like, "Okay, let's go." And then it was kind of hot. It was a hookup, so it was like a one-night stand, if you will. And then the person, we got talking about stuff you've tried, what have you done, what have you not done. And I was offering so many other stories from my previous encounters, and this person is like, "What is the one thing you haven't done that we can try?" And suddenly, I don't know who came up with this, but like kissing underwater was like, "Oh, I haven't tried that." The person is like, "Come, I'll teach you," and all of that. So the first couple of times I was just like coughing because water would go inside, and I'm like, "I do not know this," and the person would be like, "No, it's not like this and that." So it was so hot because anybody in those buildings or rooms could have come out to the balcony and seen two brown people going at it in the pool. Yeah, it was quite hot. And then, that's what happened. And that was really hot.
So
and,
nobody did walk by.
There,
but it's always that imminent threat that like, makes you feel like you'll be edgy. And very courting danger.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the hotel staff passed by once in a while. But then we would kind of like do other things then. Yeah, but that was hot.
That image of just being underwater, kissing, touching, bodies touching is extremely hot.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling that way the first time you told us the story. But
have you tried it since, Pixie?
Underwater?
Sure.
No.
Recreating that moment.
No, I would really like to. The shower maybe is like one version of that, like with water and kissing and all. But when it comes to public spaces, I remember being very uncomfortable even holding hands with someone. Forget about the kissing and everything else after that. But even holding hands with someone for me in the beginning in public was very odd.
Sure.
And I think over time that got better. And then I started to get sort of more comfortable with expressing myself externally in public. The first time I kissed my partner in public, that was also really odd. And I remember we kissed on the road, and there was a lot of traffic going in and out.
Were you kissing, or was it one of those, domestic things, those really adorable domestic things where you walk into the house and you kiss really quick? It was one of those, sort of a kiss goodbye, kiss.
Yes, it is one of those. It wasn't.
But still, nevertheless.
And so we're on this road in Bangalore, It must have been like 7 p.m. at night, and peak traffic time, so all these cars going by. And we had never kissed like this before in like outside. And I remember we looked at each other and we're like, There was just this moment of, what do we do? And we just, kissed, and that was it. But I think both of us felt like, oh, this was different. My first sort of public space, like where I felt like we were really out there, was we had decided to go for a holiday for a few days outside of Bangalore in this place called Sakleshpur. And there are a lot of mountains, and it's really like a wooded area and all of that. So we're living in this like homestay, and we go for a walk, and we're going for this walk, and it's super quiet. Like, there's nobody, you can't hear any human sound anyway. There are a lot of birds. It's like beautiful space, right? Like, lots of trees around you. And my partner kept saying, oh, shall we, got a little handsy, and we started to kiss. And I was like, no, we shouldn't. Like, someone's going to walk in.
That's what the birds say.
Yeah.
Like, someone's going to walk in. Like, no, this is going to be so embarrassing, whatever. So we decided not to do anything. But the following day, we went out quite early in the morning. And it's still like misty and foggy and all of that. And we go to this one secluded spot, and we started kissing, and he was just like, oh, shall we keep going? But at that point of time, I really wanted to try something different for myself and see how I felt. So I was like, okay, but I don't want to be naked. You get me naked. Like,
yeah.
I want to be naked.
Get it off of them. Yes.
So you be naked. And so, we kind of like, I pulled down his pants and like,
whoa,
gave him a blowjob, hand job kind of situation, and we kissed and all of that. But it was so nerve-wracking, because I really thought that someone was gonna walk in or like just pass us, and we're just this random, like, we're next to some villages in up there in the mountains, and I was just like, oh my god, this is gonna be so embarrassing.
So are you like in the middle of a road? Like, what do you...
So it's
place us in the place.
So it's kind of like a wooded area, but there are like paths, and there are people who, it's not a paved path, but there are people who are working there, cutting the grass or cutting some things in the morning. Mm-hmm, and so it's not like we're not on the path.
So imminent danger
is
imminent.
Yeah.
Okay. Keeping it sexy. I like it. Yes.
So I mean, I think while we were sort of being intimate with each other, it was I was excited by the fact that there was danger, but I was also quite nervous about like someone coming and seeing this and being like, what the hell is this shit? But it turned out fine, and we had a wonderful time, and I felt really good after that. I felt like I'd had my first experience doing something that I thought I would never do, or that it just never occurred to me that this was something that I would do. I think the next step for me would actually, like, what I would really love to try is for me to be naked outside, because I still wasn't comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay, my partner, you can be naked to whatever extent you want, but not me. So, and I think it was safety for me. That was safe enough for me, and he was okay doing whatever he did.
For me, I'm drawing a distinction in my mind between public spaces and public spaces. So what I mean by that is like urban public spaces, in alleyways and things like that. I don't know that excites me as much, because bacterial colonies. We all know how I feel about that. Yeah. However, in wooded areas, so in this story where, we talked about the balcony for Mojo with the wood, the trees and things, and Pixie, you're out there sort of in a sort of pseudo-wild place with the trees and the plants and the what have you. That's exciting to me somehow. In a concrete jungle space, I think of being inside a building. So inside a room, or inside, let's say, a hotel. So what makes that public is that it's not a home. And also within a hotel room, let's say, curtains open. Yeah. Sort of that kind of liminal space between what's public, what's private. I think that's kind of exciting. But per se, outside nakedness, as you were talking about, Pixie, I don't know that I'm into that, or that's not even really getting me going. But I like the idea of water. So what I'm realizing is some of those natural aspects, nature-related aspects were getting me excited. Any feelings, thoughts on that? How are you guys feeling between these kind of public spaces?
Yeah, no, I was... So you know how when you're watching a lot of movies, especially Western movies, a lot of times you find scenes where people are kissing in public bathrooms.
Yeah.
And for me, that was never a thing. Like, I would look at that and be, oh my god, that's so disgusting. Like, you have no idea what's just happened in that public bathroom space. You don't know how often it's been cleaned. So there, I'm with you, Cherry, in terms of, hygiene and everything like that. But yeah, I think from what really I found excites me is being intimate with someone in nature kind of spaces where you can see the sky, there's some trees around you, there's water. Like on a beach, I can imagine myself doing something on the beach.
Yeah.
For sure. I think if I'd want to try being naked outside with a partner, I would want to try it on a beach.
There's definitely take like a thick mat or something.
Yes.
Because for me, I'm thinking about that
The
sand getting in.
Yeah.
Or in the water in the beach. Oh, that would be so lovely.
Yeah, that reminds me of this one experience I had. So this was in Barcelona, and my friend had taken me to this sort of like an island. We took a train and we went off to this beautiful, gorgeous place. And then my friend was like, "Why don't you go on a little hike up that little mountain there?" And before apps and before Grindr was a thing, like cruising is a known thing. Like cruising is where you just randomly hang out in public places and you're cruising.
You're like browsing.
Yeah.
But you're just sort of window shopping
and all of that, right? So this place was known for that. I mean, of course, it's hardly any people there, so it also makes it a good place for that sort of an activity, I guess.
That's taking the phrase "gay cruise"
to
another level.
Another level, yeah. So I went up and there was hardly anyone, right? So I went up, it was beautiful, so I kept taking a lot of pictures, all of that. And then on the way back, I spotted somebody and because my friend had told me that this is a place, it was already getting me in the mood for it or whatever. And then I think there was a little bit of like non-verbal communication that happened.
Some eyeball undressing.
Yeah. And then I think the person got the message and all of that, and then we kind of went off on this like edge of the whatever you call it, the cliff kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then there I got the best blowjob of my life, I think, because it was beautiful. The view was what kind of got me really excited.
Are you facing the view?
I'm facing the view.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I'm facing the view. It was beautiful. I'm sure I have the picture somewhere of that.
What a vista!
Yeah, it's blue waters and the sun and greenery and just a lot of peace, and then some more
release.
Yeah. So it was amazing. So I know why that can be so exciting. But when you started talking about like urban jungle, that reminded me of this. I've already spoken about this in one of the other episodes, the New York encounter in the cab. And cabs can be so exciting because it is a public, because you have a driver in there, but it's also the back part, it's supposed to be private. Come on.
Yeah, where we all pretend like somehow we're shielded from any viewing of voyeurs or anything.
Yeah, so that's exciting.
And actually that, just taking on from there, I have experimented with this in our Ubers and Olas. And just the idea of touching each other. Yeah. Touching your thigh, the inner thigh, maybe the crotch area, and then my partner touching me there. So it's really like it's really excited and playful.
Yeah.
Like, and of course you're like watching to see whether the driver's seeing you or not, or so there's just that dance that's happening.
Yeah.
That's a hide and seek.
Yeah, that's kind of like quite exciting in and of itself.
Yeah.
I take that as foreplay before going home.
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, I've thought about that as well. And perhaps done it once or twice as well with partners. And that can be a very, very good way to get in the mood as you're going to the destination.
Mm-hmm.
But also reaching and then walking into, and let's say the setting is urban jungle, so we're getting into a building, you walk through a car park, there's a garage or a parking space, and like another pit stop before you actually get in the lift.
That's right.
Is that car park space where I know there are a lot of cameras there as well, but there are sometimes some blind spots or whatever, little nooks or something like that. And I've never done that, but it gets me going. The idea of it. So I do know that I want to try that.
Elevators?
I'm not into that because there are cameras for sure. that turns me off. Then my cognitive brain is really involved, and I'm like, that's dumb. I think it's the allure of being caught, not the actuality of it.
Yeah.
That turns me off,
Yeah.
Just like the finality of the fact that, okay, somebody is in fact going to see you, then, then it's not exciting.
Yeah, I've kissed in the elevator, and I think it's hard because and sometimes I think I'm a little bit of an exhibitionist, if you will. So I know the camera is there. I'm like, whoever's watching it, good for them.
Have a wonderful time.
Yeah.
But anything else though?
No.
Apart from making out?
Yeah, because these elevator rides are also so short. Like
that's not stuff some people I know.
Okay.
But my point is like to finish in that much time.
Yeah.
But my point is, would you be interested in engaging in any other sexual activity in an elevator?
I think I would be up for it. If the opportunity
Damn!
does. Yeah.
Kicking it up a notch.
Yeah, and
I had a question in my head. In Bangalore, if you had to choose one spot in a public space where you'd like to do something naughty, doesn't have anything, even kissing, getting jiggy with the genitals, as we like to call it, where would you like to do it?
my mind first went to. I know this could be. Yeah, because I've always fantasized. I've never done this. It's such an easy thing to do. I don't know why I haven't done it. Like having a picnic in Coven Park. Because I love the visual of the green grass and sunlight and a lazy afternoon, weekend afternoon, all of that. And I think if something happens naturally, that. But I also realized Coven Park in Lal Bagh is known for all of this. So I'm like, oh my god, am I one of those people?
I'm just so basic in my exhibitionist needs.
Yeah. Oh boy, there are lots of stories of old Bangaloreans in Lal Bagh and Coven Park, and many years back, it was known as the hangout.
They're painting the town lal.
Yeah.
That's red.
Yeah.
So I, on old Madras Road,
Okay.
there's a cemetery.
Oh.
I would love to do it there.
Old Madras Road. There's a cemetery.
Swami Vivekananda Road.
Oh.
Something like that,
Yeah.
right? Like where there's a cemetery to the left when you're going towards Frasertown.
Yeah. Wow.
I would really like to walk around there and try something there.
My
Mhm.
God.
I've always wondered when I pass that place, be like,
Yeah.
Who'd have thought, Pixie?
Yeah, I mean, if we pull at that thread, right? I don't know where we're going to reach, what we're going to unravel, but that's for another day, another topic. But, but I see what you're saying. It's forbidden, semi-secluded, not as well, the footfall there is not as high as any other public space. Let's see. For me, I haven't actually thought about Bangalore as a landscape. My mind first went to sort of take the route you took, Mojo, which is to say what came to your mind first was a hotel room, which has nothing to do with Bangalore. That just has to do with generally urban scape. But if I was to push myself to now think, I would say, I suppose a park or a garden of some sort.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not be basic?
Yeah.
I'll start from there.
Yeah. So one thing, as much as I have stories of sex in public spaces IRL, one episode that kind of made me really think about public sex was this one encounter where I was hooking up with this guy, and this person was like, can we stream this, or this get on the, what is it called, public cam, whatever, sex camming, live thing. So the person suggested that, and it totally shut me down. I felt it was very dangerous for some reason, and it was the first time someone was suggesting that to me. And of course, this person had done it a couple of times. So I think it would turn him on, and he was really excited about it. And the person was like, shall we do it? And I mostly want to say yes and be experimental. And I think I even maybe have said yes, though mentally I was not ready for it. But I think after a few minutes of it, I was like, no, not happening. And I was not even in the mood. It totally turned me off. And but I also that made me think, because that is also public, right? Because you're kind of exhibiting it for somebody on the internet. But I think internet just kind of scares me in some way, as much as real people in real life doesn't.
Oh, absolutely. I think the element there is sort of what I was talking about at the elevator for me. It's like the finality of it, like that it in fact happened and in fact people saw it, rather than the excitement leading up to the fear of it and the anticipation of being caught, rather than actually being caught.
True.
Which in this case is documenting that it happened, and so it's taking away the anticipation and the question mark around it. And I would say, sure, I see what you're saying. However, conversely, to record yourself privately, not doing a live stream, is different, because then it's an act of in front of a camera, so there's that, okay, nobody else is going to see this, but it's kind of sexy to expose yourself, another potentiality of exposing yourself by recording it. So I guess that could be sexy and something that I don't know, would you consider just recording for yourself?
Yeah, I think that also still scares me, because we've seen all these movies of like sex videos being leaked and all of that. I think there is documentation of some sort. As much as, some people ask you for, let's video call and all of that, right? Somewhere I think I'm still not fully open to the idea. I mean, I would do it, but just the fact that maybe it's getting recorded somewhere and somebody has some document. I mean,
I'm with you. I mean, I was sort of trying to think about what would be maybe that border, the Lakshman Rekha. But you're right. I think, when I say you're right, I mean, I agree with you that I don't know that I would actually do it. Because I would have to say that I'm also very, very cautious of cyber-related stuff.
Yeah.
I think I'm paranoid enough not to go there. So just keep it natural. Just take it in nature, baby.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing that, though. I think I'm quite excited about the idea of recording. Of course, trust and safety, all of that in mind.
That's right. Those are the ingredients, for sure.
All of that in check. But yeah, I think it would be very exciting to kind of
rewatch yourself.
Or even
is that the idea?
Or I think there's an element of performance, like you're performing for something, and I think that also is quite exciting.
Absolutely.
And right now my imagination is running wild, so we're gonna.
On that note of performance, let's take it and push our boundaries and see if we can bring this performance and some stories about those performances in another episode.
Alright, so did you know that Section 294 of the Indian Penal Code states that whoever to the annoyance of others does any obscene act in any public space shall be punished with imprisonment of either description for a term which may extend to 3 months, or with fine, or with both. But there is also a little bit of a grey area, right? Because what is public and what is private? This eternal question, right? Because some people are like, I'm having sex in my car, but my car is my car, it's my private property. So the grey area is, if you're parked in a secluded area at night and not in the pathway of pedestrians who could easily see inside your vehicle, you may be able to argue that you were not in public. Again, all of this really depends on the state in which this happened, because each state has its own interpretation of
you could put curtains in your car. So then,
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Sure, right. And also, what is annoyance? What if we become a society where that's not annoying?
Yeah.
Then,
this language is so, yeah.
There's a lot of room for...
Your face is annoying.
That's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
But it takes me to my point. Did you know
Yeah.
that there is a growing sense, and maybe this is more of an urban statistic. So Durex condom company ran a survey. It's called the Durex survey, sex survey. I think this was last year, and they published this. And to say basically, and they ran a campaign on this one statistic, which is to say sex is boring, and 74% of Indians want to try something new. Now, okay, there's this new in bed, but the idea that there is this appetite, so to speak, sexual appetite to explore new things, take it outside the norm for bed, and that's where you do it, and take it outside. Even if it means beginning with just the bathroom, the shower, and then taking it outside your house and going to more public spaces. I think there's a trend, and so to your point, Mojo, I mean, yeah, sure, it is about if the society changes and that's not annoying, I guess the law is written, the penal code is written in such a way that it allows for changing mores.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing to think about. If we could just shift the paradigm, then it's not annoying.
Yeah, and we could further explore into many other places. So taking on from what Cherry just said, from the bed to the bathroom. There are many other places that we didn't talk about in this episode, but that include things like the movie theater,
Yes.
an airplane up in the air,
Whoa.
the Mile High Club. Isn't that what that's called?
Yeah.
And then in dressing rooms.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, in like a mall, like a store.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
a store.
Okay.
And also in the office.
Oh my god.
That's right. I've heard about that. Like in the stairwells,
Mm-hmm.
in the these sort of tech parky kind
Yeah.
of clinical spaces.
Yeah, let's add airports also.
Airports, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Airports.
Train stations. You want to go there?
Yeah.
Bus
Train,
stations,
like, you know,
yeah.
remember
Actually,
AC,
yeah.
those AC those AC trains where they have the curtains
Mm.
going down.
Okay.
Well, somebody is.
So lots to experiment with.
Go for it. Just don't become a public nuisance.
Correct, correct.